After the defeat of General Radahn, a path will open, leading to the Eternal City of Nokron. Among its denizens, we find a wretched set of creatures wielding the cool white ghost flame. As we enter the Eternal City, we see this creepy creature in droves, with bloodied hands and feet and dried out flesh, wielding the ghost flame torch and some meager armaments. This is the company of the Fallen Hawks, another one of Elden Ring's blatant berserk references and the subject of today's video. As we get into our lore discussion, feel free to subscribe to the channel, as it helps me make these videos in more ways than one. With that, sit back and enjoy the tale of the Fallen Hawks. We immediately see that the Fallen Hawks are a gnarly bunch, making them a perfect topic to discuss during the spookiest time of the year. Their limbs are bloodied, their bodies are emaciated, and they even seem to have some Frankenstein-esque bolts on their heads. These bolts may be traces of lost helmets, which were perhaps attached to their very skulls. When we come across these withered wights, we may note that they are digging at the ground, looking for something. They've dug so much with their bare hands that they've worn off their skin, leaving only trace amounts of red flesh on their appendages. This enemy does not have much description, but they do have a few tidbits of lore in their gear and their conspicuous ghost flame torch. The torch is the cornerstone of the story. Reading, metal torch that burns with cold ghost flame. Tool of the Fallen Hawks who prowl the underground rivers. When the band's last embers were used up in their long search, they began to burn the bones of their fellows, acquiring the cold ghost flame, but sealing their fate as dwellers of the underground for all eternity. This is the core of the Fallen Hawk story, the description of their downfall. They came to Nokron and the Shofar Aqueduct for some investigation, but they ran out of supplies, namely things to burn. So they turned to the only kindling they had, their own flesh. Another example of the game's theme of flesh kindling. It's unclear whether the Hawks killed some of their comrades to burn their bones, or that some of them had just died naturally, but either way, this bone burning brought them the ghost flame. And as the ghost flame is a contrasting force to the Erd Tree and Greater Will, check out my Raven Mountain video for more on that, the Hawks were cursed. For acquiring the heretical flame, they were doomed to remain underground forever. And considering death ain't much of a thing anymore in the lands between, that meant wasting away into the forms we find them as. The ghost flame torch is also noteworthy because it features an upturned skull. The bones of the Hawks are being used in real time as kindling for the flame, further emphasizing the spooky and blasphemous aspect of their new light source. The dead Hawks supply the flame, but they also serve another use. There are spirit ashes that feature some of the fallen Hawks. The Great Shield Soldier ashes say that they lob ghost flame, and the Archer ashes feature arrows imbued with cold ghost flame. So, the Hawks embraced ghost flame more than just using the torch. Maybe this happened after they were condemned to life underground, and they saw no reason to avoid the new power. They already hit rock bottom, they couldn't go any lower. We can actually find the arrows as item drops from the still living Fallen Hawks. They are called Spirit Flame arrows, but as confirmed by the Red Scholar's English-Japanese spreadsheet, the kanji is the same as for Ghost Flame. So we could also just call these Ghost Flame arrows. After all, even their in-game description refers to them as such. Reading, arrow set alight with Ghost Flame before firing. Deals magic damage while also afflicting foes with frost. Used by the company of the Fallen Hawk, once ordered to explore the Eternal City. Here we also get some more lore. The Fallen Hawks were not just some random band of explorers investigating the Eternal City. They were a random band of explorers ordered to investigate the Eternal City. We can learn even more about this expedition from a shield some of the Hawks carry, called the Inverted Hawk Heater Shield. It reads, a medium-sized metal shield, easier to handle than a kite shield. The Inverted Hawk is the emblem of the company of slaves ordered to explore the Eternal City. This gives us a fuller picture of the Hawks, not as noble explorers, but slaves forced to embark underground without enough supplies for their journey. The fact that the Hawk emblem on their shield is inverted may indicate either their journey below the surface or their status as slaves. It appears on their Inverted Hawk Tower shield as well, but this shield's description doesn't offer up any more lore. If the Hawks are slaves, then it bears asking who is their master, who sent them underground to explore the Eternal City. There are a few candidates for explanation, but nothing we can say for certain. First, there's the crest they bear, the Inverted Hawk, along with their corresponding title as Fallen Hawks. The hawk is a symbol of Stormveil, as we read from the Hawk Crest wooden shield, a tall, medium-sized wooden shield, light for its size and easy to handle, adorned with a long-forgotten crest of Stormveil, ancient in design. This shield does note that it is easy to handle, somewhat like the Inverted Hawk Heater Shield. There are plenty of hawk connections in Stormveil, from the Stormhawk King to the grafted hawks, to the true storm bringing back a host of hawks when Nefeli takes the throne. If this is the connection, then the fallen hawks may have once been soldiers of Stormveil. Maybe they served the Stormlord that Godfrey faced. If so, we would have an explanation as to their slavery. Soldiers of the old lord, they could have been bound and chained with their lord's defeat. We know the Golden Order is okay with slavery from its treatment of the misbegotten and the trolls, so absorbing soldiers of a defeated enemy as slaves is par for the course. I'm not sure where the consensus is when it comes to the Stormlord, but a sensible enough reading to me would be that the Stormlord is an ancient ruler of Stormveil that was defeated by Godfrey. If Godfrey then took the Storm Throne, he could have sent the Fallen Hawks as his newfound slaves to explore the Eternal City, an area which served as banishment grounds for the Greater Will. This telling of things also justifies why Nefeli Lu, daughter of Horalu, brings back the true storm and its hawks when she takes the throne. It explains the storm connection from Godfrey. This also gives a good explanation for the Fallen Hawks too. Most of the aspects of their story, from slavery to hawk connection, get some justification. But of course, this is not the only option. As argued strongly by some users in the Elden Ring Discord, there is one aspect of the Stormveil route that is lacking. Why were the Hawks sent to Nokron specifically? All of the Eternal Cities and Nox went against the Golden Order, but the Fallen Hawks were sent to explore only Nokron. This is even more important because of what can be found there, the Fingerslayer Blade. The pivotal blade's description reads, "The hidden treasure of the Eternal City of Nokron, a blade said to have been born of a corpse. The blood-drenched fetish is proof of the high treason committed by the Eternal City and symbolizes its downfall. Cannot be wielded by those without a fate, but is said to be able to harm the Greater Will and its vassals. The blade is needed to complete Ranni's questline, and in-game we can find Iji and Blythe searching for a path to Nokron. Iji even says that,
"I take it you've heard of the Eternal City of Nokstella? Well, it has a twin, known as Nokron, the other Eternal City. After years of expeditions, we've determined the location of Nokron by going underground through the well in the Mistwood of Limgrave. You can see Nokron up above. Only we've failed to find a path leading to the city. Blythe's made a good go of it, but I'm afraid this has him quite stumped. To be honest, I'm not sure where to go from here."
The line about years of expeditions makes it sound like the exploration of the Hawks, but the fact that they haven't found a path seems odd. Yes, the Hawks didn't make it back to the surface to tell of their path, but if the Hawks were in Ranni's charge, it's weird to not have followed up on their disappearance. It would make sense for Ranni or possibly her ancestors to have sent a search party to Nokron to find the blade. And we can see that the Fallen Hawks are still searching for something in the city. Maybe they found the city, but their exploration did not reach its end. They might have lost their minds, but they still hold on to the one idea that drove them there, the search for the Fingerslayer Blade. And they keep digging, mindlessly propelled by that one drive. To me, this explanation is weaker. We don't get any info on any of the Hawk connections, and it's never stated that the Carians had slaves. They even saw their trolls as equals, with the Troll Knight's sword telling of how they are treated as true knights of Caria, and fight arm in arm with their human comrades. As such, the Fallen Hawks being ordered as slaves down into the depths seems out of place. This brutal treatment is more in line with the Golden Order, and I think we could even extend the Fingerslayer blade searching to the Order too. Maybe they knew something of Nokron's treasure and its ability to harm the Greater Will and its vassals. This could have motivated them to send the Fallen Hawks to search for it, and this would again explain the Hawks and their obsessive digging. Though there are a lot of moving parts either way, from the Carians to the Stormlord. So if there is anything I missed or a conclusion that seems unjustified due to other evidence, feel free to mention it in the comments. The Fallen Hawks are one of the most visually striking humanoids in the game, not for any imposing or supernatural element, but for their classic horror look, their wilted, sullen state, like zombies in a permanent stasis of starvation, their bodies eternally wasting away. The headbolts, missing eyes, and crimson appendages don't help the picture either. To me, they stand as one of the game's creepiest enemies, and the lore of their enslaved investigation matches that unnerving design. They would be right at home as a lesser creature in one of H.P. Lovecraft's short stories, and they do a great job of delivering that kind of spookiness to the underground of the lands between. If this lore investigation of the Hawks investigation is your kind of thing, consider subscribing to the channel or becoming a patron on Patreon. Both really help me make these videos by justifying my time and effort with higher digital numbers, effectively unlocking my dopamine receptors. I'll be making more videos focusing on spookiness for the rest of October, so I'll hope to see you there. With that, thanks for watching, and bye.